All right, all right, all right, all right. We are finally back. I am sitting down and it is completely random. Make sure the volume, yeah, the volume should be good. Completely random, so don't expect anyone to pop in at this random Saturday evening time. It's a very busy weekend too. It's oh my gosh. Well, if you celebrate Pi Day, a lot of pizza places give out like certain pie deals, so that's pretty dope. But of course, a lot of people celebrate St. Patrick's Day this weekend. But I've learned it's like a all month thing now too. Like some places turn it into like a whole festival type shit. Um, so I wanted to sit down and catch up, catch up on some shit, and just get this out there and get kind of like caught up and just get this like video done out the way. I honestly wasn't even gonna go live because I figured it wouldn't even be probably like I don't know, like a good idea to go live on a Saturday night, but I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna sit down anyway, so I might as well just go live. If I'm gonna record, I might as well just go live, right? So just doing that, figured it's easier. You guys and me, I don't sit there and do many edits anyway. But there's been so much that's gone on since Elimination Chamber, the Raw after the Chamber, two Raws now in the books with CM Punk and Roman, of course, and then last week, this past week it was with Roman, or I'm sorry, Jay and Jimmy, kind of squaring up with Punk. I really enjoyed that, so I'll dabble into that for a little bit, and then of course get to the big title change and the follow up that we had on SmackDown from last night, which was I dug it. I was kind of surprised to see some of the feedback that it got. So obviously we'll get into that in a little bit as well. But kind of backtracking a bit, going from the chamber, obviously not gonna do a full review. It seems forever ago now, which is kind of crazy. Um, the road to WrestleMania though, really quick, because literally when I said it, I was like, man, like the chamber feels so far away already, but it still feels like we're so far away from Mania in one sense, but then it's like, damn, like Mania's not that I don't know, it's like Mania's not that far away, but then it's like we still have a good amount of time. It's just like a weird it's we're at that point in the road to WrestleMania where it's awkward for some feuds unless they are just beginning, which is what's happening with Cody and Randy. So that will work out pretty well. But on the flip side, you do see the struggles or what could have been struggles with CM Punk and Roman, mainly because Roman isn't there, right? And one person can only do so much. But the benefit of Roman Reigns is the family, right? Obvious there with the bloodline, all that good stuff. But backtracking, like I said, to the chamber, I think it was a good idea to have Randy win, especially in hindsight. It's kind of crazy how they got there. But fast forwarding to where we are now, makes a lot of sense. And it makes you wonder how far in advance they planned all this, right? And what their long term vision coming out of WrestleMania is, really. Because I would imagine they have, well, I said I wasn't going to get to this one first, but I'll finish this and then move on. But I would imagine they have at least through Mania, if not through the summer, lined up for Cody and Randy, especially depending on who's going to win. I'm going to save it for a little bit later, who I think is going to win, like an early prediction. So hold on to that. But I think Randy was the right choice. On the women's side, with Rhea winning, again, kind of crazy how they got there, but I don't hate it. It makes sense, especially with Bianca not being available, which is so wild, like shout out to her. It's got to be so frustrating. So hope she's doing all right. I pretty certain she just had surgery, right? Not too long ago. Um, but yeah, so hope she's healing well and mentally doing all right because that shit's got to be draining. But with Punk and Roman, I I don't even remember my exact stance, to be honest with you. I know I wasn't thrilled when Roman won, but seeing what they are doing so far, even with Punk and Roman, I think if I talked any shit about it, then I am wrong, right? So I'll own up to that. But what they're doing with I don't even want to say the bloodline aspect of it, but with at least the USO aspect, right? With what happened on this past Monday Night Raw, I really enjoyed what they did. Really enjoyed seeing that version of the Usos, right? Especially Jimmy. We've seen Jay a lot. um, but to be fair, it was a different side of Jay. It was that same energetic version of Jay, but that energetic, aggressive version, right? The dude who's almost like a loose cannon who has to be reeled in and talked off a ledge and really like set straight, like, yo, like, calm down, like cooler heads prevail type shit. Whereas Jimmy is the exact opposite. Jimmy is pretty calm natured. He generally thinks things through, right? And I just loved that dynamic that they had on Raw. I love that difference that each showed. And I love that Jimmy really carried that segment. Really, in my opinion, like of course Punk did what he did, but I really enjoyed what Jimmy was bringing to the table with it. So props to him. And of course, in regards to Punk, man, like Punk, when he has substance and really has a solid direction and where the story is going, especially has some time, he really digs into it, man. And again, I'm probably biased, right? Because everyone knows he's one of my top guys. But seeing him being able to lock in and being able to just being able to almost feed off of something, it's refreshing, right? It's why him and Drew was so good because there was real emotion there. And you can see how they are teetering the line, right, with going too far in certain aspects, but it's almost like, man, like it's eating at both of them. Like they so want to. So I dig that and I appreciate that. But the week prior, right, or maybe 2 weeks ago, after time's blurred, but their first encounter with Punk saying that he was pretty much going to bury Roman right next to Roman's dead father. People were like, "Oh my god, he went too far" and stuff like that. I don't think so. I mean, yes, right? But I'm in the camp of, especially if you've been a fan of Punk for years, that's the Punk that you first should come to expect, right? No matter if he's quote unquote a good guy or a bad guy, like regardless of where he's slated on the company's roster, right? He says some vile shit sometimes, especially when, like I said, he is in a situation where a lot is on the line. There's a lot of substance to it, and he wants to prove a point. And I feel like that's kind of where he's at right now. And in my opinion, that's the best Punk to get. And I'm not really, a lot of people were saying that, oh, like that was the beginning of the heel turn for him with the whole bearing line. And then what we had this past Monday with the Usos and him not apologizing. Um, I I don't see it, man. Like, yeah, if it was me, I'm like, if it was anyone else other than Punk, of course, right? I don't even want to say yes, of course. But with Punk, that's just him not being as nice of a guy that he has been trying to be, if that makes sense. It's a lot of the stuff that he's been thinking, but he's just been biting his tongue on, I feel like. So he's just at the point now because it's WrestleMania, dude. Like he is going in defending a championship against the top guy in the company, right? Like you make a case for Cody, but Roman still, if Roman is going to be on the show, like he's the prime focus, right? And it's almost irrelevant of who else is on there, unless it's like The Rock or something crazy like that. But Roman's the guy, and regardless of how you feel about that, it is what it is. But for Punk, again, having, I don't know, the championship, technically it's not the undisputed, whatever, blah, 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 WWE Championship, but it is the World Heavyweight Championship, and the fact that Roman declared to challenge for that title adds more relevance to it. So he is going in there in pretty much the top marquee matchup, right? He's going to be main eventing Sunday night. So that's everything. Again, what Punk has wanted. Yeah, he got the main event last year, but it's different, especially being the champion going into the main event on Sunday night against the company's top guy. That's everything that you want, right? So he has that added pressure built in there. And not even pressure in a bad way, just pressure and just weight in itself, right? So he has that chip on his shoulder. So all of that is just adding to that chip rather. And just making it bigger and bigger for shit that he wants to prove. So yeah, man, like I don't think it's that surprising that Punk said the shit that he said. And I don't think it's a sign of him turning. I just don't. Is it seeds? I guess maybe, and maybe it's something that could be beneficial, even if it wasn't the plan originally to call back on in the future, kind of like what they're doing with Cody, which dive into in a little bit. But yeah, I just that's not that or that wasn't my thought coming out of either line or either night with Punk. So yeah, and I could be completely wrong. We could be going into Mania and everyone's talking about a double turn for Cody and Randy. That could be the double turn, right? If what everyone is saying is true, maybe the double turn happens there. I just don't see it. I don't see. I guess early prediction here. I don't see Roman winning at Mania. I just don't, unless he is planning on coming back. Not even obviously full time, right? But even more than more than what he's been doing, right? And again, I am not a hater on his schedule. Yes, I do wish he was around more, selfishly. So that's why I get a little bit frustrated sometimes with the various stories or whatever. But you can't you can't knock the guy, and you can't not, pun intended, right? You can't not acknowledge that he's a big deal, right? So I would totally get why they want to put the title on him, but unless he's going to be more committed, at least for the next 6 months, right? Doesn't have to be a long reign or anything like that. It shouldn't be. If you're going to put the title on, it should, in my opinion, at least go into SummerSlam. So if they were wanting to do the double turn, then you can have the story go into SummerSlam. I don't know, but I don't see it going in that direction. I think they should continue the direction they're going in with Punk kind of being a hothead, talking out his ass, you know what I mean? But in my opinion too, though, he had a point, and that's Wade Keller has said this a lot in the past that Punk is one of those guys where you can agree with what he's saying, but he is just so obnoxious with it. These aren't Wade's words exactly, but essentially the point. But he could be so obnoxious with it and just beat you over the head with the point. It's like, damn, dude, like, okay, like, whatever. It's like you kind of regret agreeing or like being on that side or having that same stance. So like, again, I'm fully aware of that being a Punk fan, but I think they just need to continue going the direction they're going in because Punk is playing the character, right? Is playing the mindfuck game with Roman. He is playing the mind games with Roman since he can't physically do anything to Roman because Roman's not there every week, right? Which I don't even know if Punk would do, but Punk's best asset is on the mic. So Punk is doing what he is best at, and that is delivering the mind games, right? And just being an asshole. He's not a mind games guy like Undertaker or anything dark or anything like that, right? He's just the dude to just piss you off and to get to fuck with your mental that way. He's just an asshole, right? He's just the guy where it's just like, I just want to go in there and be his ass just because, again, whether it's you completely disagree with where he's coming from or it's like, fuck, dude, I get it. Like, but I'm tired of hearing about it. Like I agree with you, but stop. I agreed with you 100 times ago. So, yeah, good old sweet tea. But I don't know. I just think the direction that they have been going in the past few weeks with Punk, especially bringing the Usos in, is very interesting. I really, like I said, enjoyed the Usos' inclusion, is well, specifically because of the roles that each of them played. So props to them. Props to Jay for not running it back, right? They all took it seriously, right? Like they all read the room type shit. So that really added to that segment. And it's smart with Roman not being there, not to beat a dead horse, but with Roman not being there, you need to find a way to get through the weeks, right? I think we're like about a little over about 4, 5-ish weeks out at this point. So about 5, a little less than 5 weeks out. So like I said earlier, you're at that time where you still have a decent amount of time if you need to get something started really quick and going. But if you already have something set in stone, it's like, all right, like how much can we really drag this along? So in some ways I feel for him, but in the other hand too, it's like, dog, like like you create this schedule. So it's like you know. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole Punk and Roman part. I think that Roman coming back and addressing both weeks now at this point, not even the whole I'm gonna bury you next to your dead father line, but with how Punk treated the Usos. But again, Punk wasn't necessarily wrong. The Usos did not react, especially Jimmy, right? Like if either of them were going to, Jimmy would have been the one when Punk was saying that, where he could have been like maybe second guessing and kind of, again, agreeing with Punk was saying, but being a little bit irritated about it, to say the least. But I didn't really get that feel from it. So I don't know if this is a matter of we're going into Mania and the fact that Punk did not apologize to the Usos for what he said about their family. I don't know if this is going to be something that bites Punk in the ass when he gets to Mania, right? If there's that infamous moment where the referee is down and everyone's down, right? The referee's down, both guys are down. It's been 23 plus minutes at this point in the match, and the Usos make their way out. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a situation like that. They reunite with Roman, and we go back to the bad guy version of the bloodline. I don't know if they think that would be just as valuable, like maybe storyline wise, like creatively and financially, as what Jay is doing right now. In a lot of ways, though, it could be perfect timing. We have been seeing the shades of Jay having this attitude towards him, not Jimmy necessarily, but Jay, in the past few months now, a couple months, we'll say at least. But I don't know if that is going to lead into a full turn back at WrestleMania or not. So that could be interesting. And I wouldn't even necessarily be against it. Like I said, we've seen a lot of Jay, like Good Guy Jay, the Yeet, and all that stuff. So that would be a way too to put it into that. And to re-solidify Roman as the top bad guy. You still have Cody as the top good guy. Now, whether Cody leaves as the champion, that's a whole other story. My opinion, it almost doesn't really matter. It almost actually makes it better if you have, well, I guess maybe on paper, and I guess it makes sense to have one top good guy, one top bad guy, but with the lay of the land right now, like I think they're almost in a better position to have two bad guy top guys as your champion. So we'll see. We're still again, like I said, very early on from making anything set in stone, but at least right now, I would leave the title on Punk because unless like I said, Reigns is planning on coming around a little bit more often. So there's that. Now, if he's not, then I don't know, man, like what's really the point? I guess you can make a case too, like you'll have the SmackDown champion, again, regardless of who it is, kind of holding down the scene on SmackDown as the top guy. It's the WWE Championship anyways. But I'm just like, man, like that was the whole reason the heavyweight championship was created to begin with, was because to counteract the the absence of the top champion. So that's why I'm like, I don't think you want to go back to having that situation, even if you can make an excuse for it. I don't know. I don't think that if you're creative, you really want to dabble with that. Especially with the fan reaction lately, like especially with the kind of goodwill dying down. So yeah, like I wouldn't rock the boat too much unless they have something really good in mind. I just don't see it. Um, yeah, I don't see it. 'Cause I was about to say, like, unless you have like a new guy, like, like a big deal or like a big return or something big that you're planning on doing on the Raw after Mania. I don't know. And again, don't need to know right now and open to being wrong or seeing what happens, right? And seeing how it plays out. But right now, I'm in the camp of keeping it on Punk and just going from there with it. Because it doesn't even matter what you do with Roman afterwards. Because I was about to be like, like the question like what do you do with Roman afterwards? No, like Roman. First of all, Roman can lose and be completely fine. But I almost feel like regardless, he's gonna go away anyway. So what difference does it make? So yeah. But oh yeah, let me pull the shot. What up, guys? What up, Jesse? What up, K Smith? What up, Sean? What up? What up? I was thinking about you, Sean. I was thinking about reaching out to you, but this was so last minute, dude. I was like, and I didn't even expect to see you pop in here because I figured you'd be doing stuff. Normally, you're busy on Saturdays, but it's good to see you in here, my friend. And K Smith, appreciate you popping in. Jesse, what up? What up? Um, but yeah, I just wanted to get on here, like I said, completely last minute and catch up on a lot of stuff and talk some stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, so those are my kind of quick thoughts on the whole Roman Punk aspect of it. But yeah, Sean, you said Punk needs to win that match, and that's a good point. Like, just the brass tacks of it, Punk needs to win. I think the perception of it, if especially if you're going to be talking all this shit back and forth on the mic between each other, if Roman is going to go out there and be heavy-handed verbally against Punk, you need to allow Punk to go out there and back it up in the ring and get a good, not dominant, but a good hard fought win against Roman. Not saying afterwards Roman needs to have like a mutual respect thing or like a shake of hands or like a nod or anything like that or any pun intended type of acknowledgement to Punk. He can lose and be pissed off. He can lose and be just contemplating and not know how to react. Like, like that to me can be the story coming out of it, but going into it, and especially if you have Punk, I guess he's full time, right? I'm trying to think, how long has he been here now? Did he sign like a 3 or a 5 year deal? But I'd imagine you still have him full time. We'll just say a year, right? We'll go on the shorter end. If you have Punk at least full time for 1 full year we'll call it from this WrestleMania to next WrestleMania, then I would take full advantage of that. I would keep the title on him as long as I can, and as long as it makes sense, right? Don't have him out there wrestling every Monday night, even or defending the championship a lot, but have him go out there be a fighting, kind of like what he's been doing, right? Just keep up what you've been doing. I think it's been good. Yes, does he? I've heard people, right, like people say he looks tired. He has kind of lost a step. He's not as fast. I get it, totally get it. Not blinded by that. I don't know how old he is now. But it, like in one hand though, like to me, the only way you kind of get that out of your system is the reps, right? So to me, he's going out there and he's willing to fight. It is kind of weird to say in a wrestling sense, but he's willing to go out there and do the matches. He's, besides Seth Rollins, really been the champion who's kind of wrestled the most, right? Whether maybe not as many title defenses, but again, he hasn't been champion but for so long, but he's at least gone out there a good amount of time and just wrestled, period, right? So yeah, he may not be the Punk we all remember, right? But I think just give it time. And if not, then hey, he's just a step slower and it is what it is. But until it's at the point where it's like dreadful, then I'm not gonna complain. But if it is dreadful and if it is at that point to you guys, let me know. Because I again acknowledge and try to acknowledge frequently that he is one of my top guys, probably my top guy. So I'm probably biased on that. Hold on one second. I need to get this really quick. All right. Just had to grab something really quick. But yeah, so those are just my quick thoughts on, like I've said, well, 3 times now, on Punk. But yeah, every time I read your comments, especially you, Sean, I just keep going. But didn't plan on this being a short stream, so I didn't plan on even you guys popping in here because it's very last minute. So that's why I said very early on, this, this is just going to be like a word vomit catch up for me. So it is what it is. But yeah, let me know you guys too. Sean, you said can't say I've never been on a cruise before. Yeah, but just your thoughts. Like even if you've never been on a cruise, if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're watching live, let me know. I don't even remember how I worded it, but what are your thoughts on a cruise? Because I was watching this random YouTube streamer who was on like he does like I don't know, he just does random shit. And one of the videos he was doing was on this cruise. And I've just always been that person who's like, man, like just for a few reasons, I'm just like I'm not really like pressed to get on a cruise. Like I really like just I don't think I'm a cruise person. But watching a couple videos that he did, I'm like, you know what, maybe so. But I think once I'm on there, like just the thought of being not stuck on a ship, but just being on a ship and not being able to be free. And once we finally get to like, for instance, like this dude went to the Bahamas. Well, the cruise ship that he was on, they went to the Bahamas. So not being able to just like spend as much time in the Bahamas and like having to worry about getting lost and then missing the time to get back on the ship. Like I just feel like that would be me. I just feel like I would either be late getting back to the like check-in area to get back on the ship, or I would get lost and therefore miss the time to get back on the ship. And then I would be stranded in the Bahamas. I don't know if you take, I would assume you take your passport off of the ship with you, right? Or maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't know if you have to. I mean, obviously you have to have your passport to get on, right? But I don't know if once you leave the ship, like for instance, like when you go to the various places, do you take your passport and like show the people like once you're landing, like for instance, like once you go from the ship to the Bahamas, like is there like a little person that you show your passport to, or they're just like, hey, welcome, or to wherever you're at? Um, because if you don't, like I probably would now thinking about it. But if you don't and you're stuck in the Bahamas, like how the fuck do you get back? All your identification is on the ship. Like man, there's just like so many things. And then people die, get murdered, go missing. There's just so much shit. So I'm just like, man, I would rather be on land and take my chances on the streets. So there's that. But yeah, so just your thoughts on the cruise, completely unrelated. Well, I guess it could be related because Jericho does a cruise, right? And to tie it into wrestling, if you guys have gone the Jericho cruise in particular, my friend Walter actually has been on every cruise that Jericho has done. He's like Jericho's number one fan. And he loves it. He swears by it. So I have that opinion, but let me know what you guys think about it. Again, nothing nothing crazy, but I was thinking about it earlier, so would love y'all's opinion. But I'm gonna read some of y'all's thoughts before we move on. Yeah, I missed you guys too. I missed you guys. It's been a minute. Sean, you said, I do feel like Punk has been a jerk, though, in the past, or blah, blah, blah. Where'd it go? I do feel like Punk has been a jerk, though, in the last few promos with Roman. Yeah, he has, but that's Punk, man. Like, to me, that's just who he is. And he said, I think he'll be a better heel overall, but shoving the mic into Jay's chest was a crap move in my mind. Very good point. I almost forgot about that. That's a very good point. That was a kind of like a cheap shot. Call a spade, right? It not even kind of. It was a cheap shot. Yeah, can't really say much more on that. That was an aggressive, like, verbal, not apologizing, that's one thing, but then, yeah, once you get physical, that's like, you're asking for it, dude. You're asking for a beatdown, you're asking for Roman to come back, like 3-on-1 attack, all that shit. You're asking for all the Samoans to come out there and fucking wail on you. So if that happens, I'd be like, it is what it is, man. If you're Punk, you gotta take your L's and get back up. Hopefully it's not an L at WrestleMania, but you got to take your L's leading up to it, take your punches and get back up. To be fair, I think Punk would, and I don't think Punk would bitch about getting attacked because he should expect it. And if he does, then we'll address that at that point, because then it'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how can you can't, like you said, you can't start shit and then not expect follow up. Well, you didn't say that, but I said it for you. But yeah, what up, Derek? What up, Derek Hubbard? It's good to see you, man. You said, I feel like Roman should. Okay, cool. See, this is what I love, and I'm so happy I went live. Like I said, at the beginning of the stream, towards the beginning, I was debating on just doing a recording, and I was like, fuck it. If I'm gonna sit down, I'm just gonna do it live. So, yeah. But this is a great reason, or a great example, because I love varying in opposite opinions. So, and I don't know why it always looks like I'm like, it's like suffocating me, the chat. But you said, I feel like Roman should win. Roman should be the champ who loses to and annoys the next top star, whether that be Braun, you said Obama or Trick. Yo, could you fucking imagine if Obama went in there? I know you meant Obafemi, and that autocorrect got you. But that's just fantastic. And it's so funny you mentioned that, though, because earlier, I forget what, or actually I do remember, when I was thinking of what you would do with Roman and the bloodline going forward, that Raw after Mania, I think, would be crucial, right, to set the scene going forward. Literally, the first image that popped into my brain was Obafemi. But I feel like that would be too soon. So, I don't know. But for whatever reason, man, the Obafemi was literally my first thought. And again, I'm not saying that we just mentioned Oba, and I just had to mention that. You didn't mention Raw after Mania, I did. But if we're talking obviously long term, and Derek, if you're still here, let me know like when you would want to see Roman versus Oba. But to me, again, I don't know why I keep going back to SummerSlam. I guess that's because the number 2, big 2. But I think for something like that, I don't know, because like Obafemi, and I'm just going to use him for example. Obafemi, I feel like, is one of those dudes, man. If you guys were around back in the early days, right, when Lesnar first bust on the scene, he was the next big thing with Brock Lesnar, with Paul Heyman, would just go on a rampage, and the just beatdown he put on the Hardy Boys and Lita in particular, that just always stood out to me. Just brutal. Beat the shit out of Jeff, man. Just fucking insane. But sorry for all the curse words tonight. But you kind of put Obafemi on a similar path like that. You could. I'm not even necessarily advocating, just kind of spitballing here. But you could put Oba on a similar path like that, which coincidentally leads into SummerSlam, just like it did for Brock Lesnar in 2002. Pretty certain. And it was, because that was a fantastic SummerSlam. I might actually put that on later on after we wrap up here. But the SummerSlam, yeah, now I'm just thinking about all of that, how great that SummerSlam was. But Brock Lesnar leading up into that SummerSlam, man, and with how hot The Rock had been, and everyone kind of felt like The Rock, it was The Rock's time, right? And I don't know if it was like understood and like a known thing because I didn't have the internet back then. So I have no idea what the dirt sheets or anything were saying. But you could kind of get that feeling, right? Like because Rock had already done at least one movie, maybe two, but you could just kind of get that vibe, right? And I think he had already, I can't recall off the top of my head now if he had already gone through the Hollywood Rock phase or not. Um, yeah, I can't really recall right now, but that was pretty much the coronation for Lesnar, right? And then Lesnar went on, and the rest is history. But you could do something similar. Not even, but you could you could do something similar like that with Obafemi. And I think if you would want to, and that's the kind of long-ish term idea, you can have, if you're going to have Roman win and regain, or win, not even regain because he's never won this championship, but win the heavyweight championship, come out on Raw, right? Talk his shit. Not even, honestly, I wouldn't even have Roman say anything. Flashback to, what was it, 2015 Raw, when, and I don't expect him to get this type of reaction, but have him, and shit, he may even get cheers, which I hope not, but because where I'm about to go with it, but if it does, it is what it is. I think it would quickly change. But you have Roman come out if it is a situation where it's a like reuniting of the bloodline with the Usos. I don't even know if you're going to include Heyman, but because right now I just picture the three of them. So Roman and the Usos. You have them come out there. You have them start the show. Have it hot. It's the Raw after Mania. Hot crowd. All that good stuff. Roman's going to take 15 minutes to get to the ring anyway. So you have plenty of time to go out there and kill. And again, hopefully it's going to be a hot reaction for him. On it, I guess and again, it just depends on the fallout and how the win for Roman goes at Mania, whether it was a heavy like heel, like I don't even want to call it a heel turn, right? Because he never really turned good, like a heel solidification, right? So we'll just go with that. In this scenario, he's like a full-fledged bad guy. The bloodline, all bad guys, right? The second Roman goes to actually act like he's going to say something, Femi's music hits. He comes out there. It's just this stare off. People are chanting, holy shit. It's a big moment, right? You need to just milk in that moment. Hopefully the announcers aren't saying anything. It's just quiet, right? Speaking wise, but the atmosphere, the people, the tension, like all that's doing the speaking for it. And sets the stage for whenever, right? And that's a good thing about it because, and that's it. Before I move on, that's it. You have Oba come out there, do the stare. Roman, I don't want to say he backs down, but he can kind of do that smirk and do that little smirk and head nod and kind of do like a slight acknowledgement of him, kind of like what Brock Lesnar has done in the past, like for instance at the Royal Rumble, right? When Lesnar acknowledged, I guess that's the word of the night, Keith Lee, and was like, "Oh shit, you're a big boy," right? But in Roman's way, not verbally say anything, but give him a head nod, the smirk. Like I'm just picturing that Roman smirk, and leave, but not in like a chicken shit like heel way or a cowardly way or anything like that. Like all right, I'll see you at some point, dude. You know what I mean? But it's not right now. And like we're gonna do this on my term. Like you can kind of address all that, and then have whomever come out and Oba just completely just kill whoever's about to come out there. And then you can set the stage, right? Whether you want to have Oba win Money in the Bank, which I don't know if I necessarily see Oba in a Money in the Bank ladder match, unless he was in a ladder match in NXT. So if he was, definitely let me know. Very good chance I missed that. But to me, he just doesn't kind of seem like a Money in the Bank type of guy. To me, he seems like a King of the Ring guy. I forget exactly what is it in May, but you have him win the King of the Ring, go through the tournament, right? become King Oba, right? Like that'd just be fucking dope. King Oba, come on. Have him challenge Roman for the title at SummerSlam, and then you have a however many week build between then going into SummerSlam. At that point, you'll bring in Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman will do the heavy lifting, right? Like Heyman will hype up Oba. Obviously, he'll, the Roman part speaks for itself, and then you go from there. Again, I don't know I mean, if you're going that far, right? At that point, it's like if you're gonna get all the way to the mountaintop with Obo, like why not let him actually sit at the top and like plant the flag? Why have him fall all the way back down? So again, super far ahead in like so many different scenarios. Like again, just spitballing, but I don't know, Derek, you ignited a whole fucking side train on that, my friend. But yeah, I think, and I guess to wrap up my little dream scenario for Oba, I say fuck it. If you're gonna do all that, like I said, you're gonna have him win the King of the Ring, challenge Roman, go all out, put the title on him at SummerSlam. It's not even yes, again, it's Roman, so it is a top championship. It's not your WWE undisputed, universal, blah, 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 this, that, and the third title, right? So if you are that concerned with having someone so new be the face of the company, you still have that crutch, right? Which is kind of bullshit in a lot of ways. It's kind of like, man, like if you're gonna do something, just do it. Like no safety net, just do it. But same token too, you don't want these people to die. Like with safety net, trying to use those analogies. If you are able to have a safety net, you should, right? I guess. So I don't know. But I say screw it. Put the title on him in that situation at SummerSlam, and then go from there. I'm not saying he has to carry it into WrestleMania that following year into Saudi. That actually probably not be a good idea at all. Have him go into Royal Rumble, right? Or maybe even into Survivor Series, just depending on what the lay of the land is at that point. So, and at that point too, you'll have the Money in the Bank briefcase in play. Which again, I'm not that big of an advocate for. I'm just stating facts. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with that. What up, William? What up? What up? No, I probably won't watch the AAA, to be honest with you. What up, E? What up? What up? Yeah, cruises, like the big ass boats, my friend. Yep. Okay, Sean. Okay, okay. And E said cruises. It depends on the company and what kind of cruise. Like I'd go to Jericho Cruise or Jason Mute. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, man. That's true. That's true. The themed ones are probably the better ones. Oh, okay, cool. So Derek, cool. Thanks, man. You said my preference would be Roman losing to Braun at SummerSlam, make Braun the next guy. Okay, cool. Okay. So how would you? Let me see if you put it in there. Yeah, you did. I think. Okay, you said Braun beats Roman and Oba beats Cody at SummerSlam. Strong signal of new era. Okay. Yeah, I get. That makes a lot of sense, dude. Makes a lot of sense. How would you get Braun into that position with Roman, and who would you have as the good guy and bad guy? Because right now Braun is, well, I mean he gets the wolves, right, the barks from the crowd, but technically he's supposed to be a bad guy. I mean, especially when he's gonna make his return from this injury, I think he's gonna get a big, hate saying it, but like a big pop. I hate saying that. That's so weird. But he's gonna get a big reaction, right? A big positive reaction. Like people are gonna be happy to see him. The big thing is what they do after that. So would you have Braun as the good guy going into it, and Roman like solidified as like the bad guy then? Sean, you said the new era, but I think you can save one for next year because I think Randy Cody will go on for a while, and it should. I'm intrigued where they go with that feud and how Sammy fits in. Exactly. I need to start that because I need to remember that Sammy part. And yeah, Sean, I agree with you, dude. You said you need a clear heel and face no matter what people say. That is how it should happen. 100% agree, man. I I look, I get it where a lot of people are like, "Oh, like the shades of gray, isn't bad and like it's where we're at in society." Like I don't know, man. I can understand that for certain characters, I guess, but we're just getting to a point where it's too much of a excuse, and it's maybe not excuse, but it's to accept it, I guess. Like pick a side. Just pick a side. Like you should be able to be a really good bad guy or a really good guy, and that be it. And I'm not saying it's easy. I especially being a like a Cody Rhodes, right? Like that's why when people are like, "Oh, Cody should turn heel right now," and all this stuff, like, and it should have been Cody and not Randy, which get into. Maybe that's a segue into it. Um, I'm not there with it yet, man. I'm not there with turning Cody heel right now. Or if that was, if the take was maybe not going into WrestleMania, coming out of WrestleMania. I'm just not there, dude. Like I am at it. The point I'm at is you have a very valuable token in your hand right now, and that being a really hot baby face, right? A really hot good guy. Yes, he may not be at the very peak as he once was coming out of WrestleMania 40 or anything like that, or maybe going into it, coming out of it, that time period. But that's to be expected. That happens with everyone, right? Like everyone has their ebbs and their flows, right? Uh but I don't think like, yeah, like I said, he's not at the top, but he's like kind of like maybe a couple rungs below of like his peak popularity, I would say, in reaction wise. Again, we'll talk about Friday and the beatdown and the Randy part. That's separate. But as a whole, right? And prior to Friday and whatever happens with this, Cody is something that is very hard to come across nowadays, and that is have somebody who both the majority of the audience likes. So I'm not gonna say everyone because not everyone, but I would say the like what 97, 98%, and that's including males, females, and kids. Before the issue with John Cena was, oh, it was just the women and the kids, like, and the guys hated Cena, right? But whatever reason, the majority love Cody, and I think you ride that out as long as you can. And once you get to that point where you start to get where the majority, or it's like a 60-40 type thing, maybe pull the trigger. But I think in the meantime, they need to be solidifying that replacement for Cody. That's the big problem. Not even necessarily how, I guess, when, right? But because that kind of ties into what I'm saying, but like not when in the sense that it's going to hurt Cody, because Cody I think is just a great talent. And I'll probably dive into him a little bit more. But the issue is having someone as hot as him to replace him, and maybe that's unfair. Maybe it's not going to be someone who is going to be as popular, but I think it's maybe, like a 1A, 1B type thing. You know what I mean? So I think it's possible, but it's something that they should be working on now. And it's something that they should be kind of doing like a slow to medium-ish burn on, depending on when they foresee that turn happening. Because that's going to be a big deal. And it should be a big deal, right? Like, I hope it's not going to be a John Cena situation, right? Because that would just be blasphemy. But I don't know. I don't think we're at that point. I don't even think we're near that point. But to be fair, with what happened on Friday, with the old Randy Orton heel turn and just the brutal beatdown that he gave to Cody, the bloody beatdown that he gave to Cody, he got a lot of Randy chants throughout that segment, throughout the beatdown. When he sat down on the chair at the end with the title in the middle of the ring, that was my favorite part. I just thought that was just a great visual. It just spoke so much, and he didn't say anything at all, right? He just put in. I love too. Before he even got in the ring with the chair, he opened it and tested it on the ground to make sure it was sturdy enough for him to sit on. It wasn't, like too fucked up. He checked it again one more time when he opened it up, but it was all very calm. Dude was just calm as can be. Open the chair, make sure it was, it's bent, but it's doable. And before he sat in it, you can see the large just bin in the back seat of it. Oh, and then him sitting in it, taking the title, looking at it, and then flipping it around. And then you just see in the letters, the RKO letters, and then the title right underneath of it. Just a great visual. Great visual. So very well done. Very well done. I think that the build up to it as well, with Cody kind of, I don't want to say being passive aggressive, but maybe not fully taking into account who Randy Orton is, right? Like, and of all people, Cody should, right? But I think Cody was maybe in the mindset of, oh, like, like almost like a pat on the back, like, like it's like almost like it's cute, right? Like, oh, like you won the Elimination Chamber, like you won a brutal chamber, like, yeah, like, I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy for you, like let's just go do this, right? Taking it seriously, but almost like a tongue-in-cheek type of thing. And I think that could have been something that really just pissed Randy off. So I'm really looking forward, again, kudos to everyone involved. I'm really looking forward to the follow-up. I don't know if they've announced that Randy is going to be live next Friday. And that's when we're hearing from Randy and getting that follow-up or not. But I think they should absolutely keep Cody out. It sucks that they're going to be in Raleigh because, Cody has ties to, obviously, North Carolina. But with that type of beatdown, man, physically and emotionally, like that was, he called him, he said, I'm not your brother, I'm not your son, but like I've always been your boy or some shit like that. Like I'm sure to Cody, the character, like it really hurt his heart. So if I was him, I would take a week to regroup and gather myself. But again, with it being in North Carolina, I could see Randy in the ring starting to say or starting to address why he did what he did, and then Cody attacking him from behind type thing. I don't necessarily agree with that. I would drag it out. I would at least give it a week for Cody to be out, have Randy address what he's going to do next week, and then go from there. But again, it just depends too how they have the next 4-ish weeks planned out, because you have to imagine that Friday going into the WrestleMania weekend, it's not going to be too, it's just pretty much going to be like re-solidifying like all the big angles. You're probably going to have your Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on that Friday night as well. I think they normally do one other thing. Last year they did the tag team match, I think it was. But yeah, so it's not going to be really anything that you're expecting from when you're top 2 matches, unfortunately, right? But, and to be fair, like it really doesn't need to be at that point. But that eats up 1 week. So I really think you could buy eating up that week, having Cody out this coming week, and then what you have like 3-ish, 2-ish shows that addresses maybe Cody wanting to, maybe it'll be a way for them to add a stipulation to the match too, right? If Cody comes back hot-headed and attack, like it's a situation where Cody can't keep his hands off Randy, like they can't stop beating each other up or whatever, then maybe that adds a stipulation to it. But I almost don't even want to see that just right off the bat. I want Cody to kind of come back because of, and normally I wouldn't say this for my good guy, but because of Cody being Cody and the emotional Cody that he is, I almost want him to come back again, not this coming week, but the week after, address, like, confront Randy and just be all, like black and blue and whatever, and just look broken, right? And just be devastated and just be almost emotionally just distraught at what happened. And have Randy laugh at him and have him just play more mind games with him and be like, look, like you thought you were my boy since '07, like, where were you? And, my boy wouldn't leave me, blah, 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 and all this stuff. He can, whatever direction Randy wants to take it. I don't think you should have him say, like, oh, my boy wouldn't leave me type shit, but you can have him address the my boy line in a Randy fashion and go from there. I think if you want to be really fucked up, you go a step further next week, right? You don't have Cody show up. You have Brandy show up. Because we haven't seen Brandy on TV. We've only seen her at WrestleMania. And I think only at WrestleMania's period, since, they've made their return. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you have Brandy come out there, Randy could be out there talking his shit, and then Brandy, right? Say that 5 times fast. But Brandy comes out there, interrupts Randy, starts talking her shit before she can even get 2 sentences out, 3 sentences out. He RKO's her. Brother. What better way to piss Cody off? Everyone has played the Dusty Rhodes card, right? Everyone has played the Dusty Rhodes card. Like, oh, like, we get it, dude. We get it. Again, like I said earlier, if Punk's my guy, Cody's like 1A, 1B type shit. Talking about males on the male side, right? I don't know why. Cody's just been my guy since. I do know why, but doesn't need an explanation right now. Cody's just been my guy for quite some time now. So having the Dusty card played out, what else do you do emotionally, right? To fuck with Cody? You play the Brandy card. Like, I just think that'd be perfect. I think it would be perfect. It's not like she's some, like, fragile woman out there. Like, she used to wrestle, right? Like, she does yoga and shit. Like, she's in good shape. You know what I mean? I'm not asking her to go out there and get beat down. And I'm sorry, girl, I'm putting you in harm's way. But dude, like, you want to add to, first of all, this story, but add to this layer of Randy and really, really get to a point where people could potentially really boo him, right? And because I fear going into Mania, it's going to be maybe 50-50, just because people are going to be so excited to see this version of Randy doing something different, like that we see on WWE TV, all the obvious stuff. And just to be that person to not cheer Cody, whatever. But what better way to really bring back that Viper side of Randy Orton too? Because one of the most, I think it was like one of their most like played videos on YouTube as well at one point was him RKOing Stephanie. So I don't know. I don't know if they'd be down for it, but man, I'd be like, take one for the team. I'll buy you whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, shit. Why not? I mean, besides the physicality part, right? For Brandy, I get that, And maybe I am over hyping or putting too much play into Brandy's like role, right? Like, maybe the majority of people wouldn't know Brandy, but I think they would, because Cody mentions Brandy, like the name Brandy, like people know obviously he's married. The second, even if they don't know what she looks like, the second they realize that's Brandy Rhodes, and it's done, right? So I don't know. I just feel like, man, you have Brandy come out there and just be like, Randy, like, what happened to you? Like, you and Cody go way back, like, even before I knew Cody, like, all this stuff. Like, you could really have her, and it could be that simple. You could really have her go in there and be I don't want to say the thread because that's kind of weird when you think about it, but just really the thing that really solidifies that history, in an odd way, I guess. I don't know why it seems kind of odd, but obvious to me at the same time. But man, like you can just really have her like verbally go out there and remind people or inform people if they weren't around back then the history, right? I'm not saying have her go out there and go on like a 5-minute diatribe, of explaining shit. Like I said, couple sentences, right? Maybe if you'll need a few after that, but or to explain that history rather. But just have her go out there, say a few things, and then Randy's like toying around, like doing his thing, and then when he spirals around, he RKO's her, and that's that. And obviously, that would be the main event part, right? You want to close the scene, the air, and go from there. But and then that leads you into the following week when Cody would be good to come back, and he smooth sailing. And you have the Sami Zayn part. Sami, I think the story with Sami, what sucks for him, not Siri. My phone thought it said Siri. But the Sami Zayn part of it, I think his story is going to be not having a Mania match for that portion of it. But we all know the history with Randy, right? I think that is going to tie into his journey into Mania next year. And I've gotten into Sami before, but I think Sami not having a match, Cody having the title, losing the title, regaining it, going into Mania, and then potentially, most likely, losing it to Randy. I'm assuming he's going to want a rematch after that, and then Sami's going to be pissed off because he keeps getting all these opportunities, and you just kind of go from there. You know what I mean? Hey, Waliko, what up, man? It's 4 a.m. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you popping on. Yo, Maddie, what up, my friend? It's good to see you, dude. Yes, dude, yes, I am back. It's good to see you, my friend. 9:42 a.m. There's my dyslexia. 9:42 a.m. Wow, you're up early, brother. Hey, La Yaska, my guy. Ted, yeah. Brother, the DiBiase's have like lawsuits going on. They got their own shit that they gotta worry about. That's some crazy. They gotta watch out for that shit. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. Kind of long story long on Cody and Randy. I think to kind of make an early prediction for who's going to win between the two, man, I think you need to do the title turn, the title change, the title change. I think you need to, because I was thinking of the heel turn. I think you need to do the title change, man. If you are going to do all this with Randy, even put him in a situation where people will begin to boo him and take away the goodwill and the fun that people were having with Randy prior, and you're not gonna follow through with it, then shame on you, man. Then it just makes no sense, right? Especially with the built-in story as well. Randy is going for number 15. So I don't necessarily think he's ever gonna get 16. But I mean, they have that in their back pocket if they need to. But 15 has always been chasing him because right now he's tied with Triple H. Wouldn't it be some shit if Triple H doesn't let him win 15? That'd be fucking terrible. And so obvious too. But man, that'd be fucking terrible. The more I think about it, that'd be terrible. But I don't see that happening. I see Randy winning number 15. And again, doesn't need to hold on to it for a long time. I don't know why I see both champions going into SummerSlam with their titles, but that's just where I'm at right now. But maybe not Randy. I could see a shorter reign with Randy, thinking about it a little bit more than on the Raw side. But I don't know, man. It just really depends on what you do with Roman. Really depends on that. So I don't know. It's a tough call right now. Tough call. Yeah, brother. I hope you've been good too, Maddie. I've been alright, man. Been alright. Getting a little bit better. But yeah, so those are the main things that I wanted to chat on there. And of course, to play off the title, backing up a little bit to the Elimination Chamber. What did you all think of Danhausen? I was shocked once I caught up because I was traveling that weekend. Once I was able to catch up, I was fucking irritated, man. I finally got a flight where I had Wi-Fi. Great setup. First class seating. It was amazing. It was a whole deal, right? How I ended up sitting up there. It's a whole deal. But ended up great. However, I left my earbuds in my check bag and not my carry-on bag. Brother. Oh, I was so pissed with myself. So pissed. My flight, the first flight was like 2.5 hours. And then we ended up having to get a connecting flight, which the connecting flight was a little over an hour. So it wasn't terrible, right? But it was still annoying, right? It was still annoying because that was the whole point. But it is what it is. Lesson learned. But I say that because that created some of the delay with catching up on everything. But once I was able to catch up on everything, and I was like, wow, everyone is really pissed off. Like, I'm not pissed off, but just really mad and just really upset that Jericho wasn't the one who popped out of the crate at the Elimination Chamber. And we chatted about this prior and going into the chamber, right? We went over a lot of different possibilities. Jericho was obviously one of them. But when you really sit there and think about it, dude, like, with all, okay, yes, Jericho is the master of reincarnation, right? The dude is amazing at just reinventing himself. But I don't, like, it just, when you really think about it, like him coming out of a crate, really? And being sent back and forth between Raw and SmackDown? Like, really? Like, for Jericho? Yes, to be fair, like, when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, devil's advocate. He's being shipped to Raw and SmackDown, like, it could be a joke, a play off of being shipped from AEW to Raw or SmackDown, but to me, like, it didn't make full sense. And once Sai had mentioned Danhausen, I was like, yeah, that makes 100% more sense, right? But yeah, of course Jericho is gonna be one of the options. However, before I get to before that, if you are one of those people who were in Chicago and were expecting Jericho and were upset that you did not get Jericho, while I do understand the disappointment for not getting Jericho, you only have yourself to be mad at, really, because nothing WWE did indicated that it was going to be Jericho. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they did make a couple references, like the walls, like just a play off of like Jericho's catchphrases. But at least in regard to the crate, again, I could be wrong, so call me out if I am. I don't think they really had too much correlation with the crate and Jericho. Now, again, could be 100% wrong on that, or some percentage wrong. So yeah, and if I am, and they did have more, I guess, like indication that it was going to be Jericho, then I stand corrected. But again, just looking at the crate, like, I was like, man, like, I guess, you can, like I said, could make a case for it being Jericho, but once Sai had mentioned Danhausen, I was like, oh, it makes 1,000% sense, right? Seeing it happen, first of all, the Chicago area, I think, was the best place to do it at. Made the most sense, you would think, right? I loved the debut, though. I loved the setup. I thought it was cool how they had the crate, just sitting in the entryway. how they had the general managers come out there and crank it open, how his ghouls, what are the names? What are their names? How he had all the women come out of the crate and then he came out. I just thought it was cool. You know, I thought it was fun. Once we realized it was Danhausen, did I think Jericho was going to come out after it? No, I personally did not. Again, I guess I can see how some people may have thought Danhausen was the precursor for Jericho. To me, that's just kind of ludicrous. I just like what? Like I don't know. They're not going to bring Jericho back. They're not going to have. They're not going to first of all debut Danhausen and have Danhausen introduce a returning Jericho. Like unless they just want Jericho to be a complete comedy act, then okay. But I don't see them bringing in Jericho. Again, not saying Jericho's gonna be the next, heavyweight champion and be like, like the next top guy. But I don't think they're gonna bring him in and just be a complete like laughing stock either, right? I think, I don't see that. Again, am I gonna be wrong? Maybe. I don't know. But when I saw some people thought that, oh, okay, well, once he gets in the ring, he's gonna like introduce Jericho, or there's gonna be like a countdown or something. Like, oh, okay, like maybe, like when I first saw that, I was like, honestly, when I first saw that, I was like, really? But then I started thinking about, I was like, okay, like I guess I can, make a case for that. And I guess I could see where people would be coming from, where we're trying to come from with that. But you're just reaching, man. My opinion, you're just reaching, and you're just trying to make yourself feel better for being wrong. It's one of those things. And I've been in that situation too, man. I have built stories in my brain where I thought it was going to go and where I wanted certain stories to go. And when it didn't happen, I was pissed off. And I was like, I'm not pissed off, but I was bummed, right? And I was like, I didn't enjoy what actually happened because I was more hopeful that what I created happened, which is kind of crazy to think about or to even be a thing. But that's where I feel like a lot of people were coming from with the whole Jericho Danhausen thing. And I think the Chicago people had their hearts set on Jericho and they were just in their feelings about it, right? Like they were just being salty on it. And shame on them because those are probably at least 80 to 85% of those people were the same people that were in those Comic-Con lines, the same people who were in those Access, all the shit that Pro Wrestling Tees, like all those lines, like all the shit that AEW would do, like all that shit. All the festivals, all that shit. Everything that Danhausen was at, they were at. So to sit there and then boo him because it wasn't Jericho, because it wasn't what you wanted, like that's just shitty, dude. Now, again, unless you're one of those people who just hates like those type of characters in wrestling and you just truly despise Danhausen because of I don't want to say what he represents, but like that just version of a character in your wrestling and you're just not down for that. I get that. And I actually respect you for that. And more props to you. And you should go out there and boo because that's the whole point of it, right? Like we should boo the people and the characters that we don't like, right? Like characters, we'll just say the characters that we don't like. So if that's where you're coming from, right on, man. But if you're just out there booing because, it wasn't Jericho and like I thought it was going to be this, then that's just, I don't know, just kind of weird to me. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I thought the whole package was just fun, dude. It was fun. Seeing what they have done with him since then is perfect. They are using him exactly how I would have imagined they would. And I like that each time you see him, like you're learning a little bit more about him, his vocabulary, what he does. I don't know. It is what it is. If it's your cup of tea, then you really dig it. If it's not, then you hate it and you're going to boo it. And that's what this whole thing is about. So I couldn't believe just I don't want to say outrage because it wasn't that strong, but just the disdain that people have for it for no true reason, just because they were mad that they didn't get shit right. And shame on you, like I said, because Danhausen deserved better for his debut. At least he took it like a champ. I think he said like he had a thunderous a reaction or some shit on Twitter. So props to him. And yeah, I don't think now some people had said like WWE hyped it up too much, or WWE thought they had more than what they had. To me, I don't know. My opinion, I don't think so. Was the present like the debut too much for like what he's going to be doing weekly? Maybe, I guess, but like to me, it's one of those situations where they were damned if they do, damned if they don't. And if you've listened to me in the past, which all you people have, um, you know I am not one to defend WWE. But this is a situation where I feel like they were damned if they did, damned if they didn't. If they just randomly had Danhausen show up backstage or just make a run in or whatever, people would have been like, "Oh, he deserves more." Da da da. Like he's never gonna get over. They brought him in no story or whatever, right? Or on the other hand, they bring him in with this speculation, right? He ends up being the payoff for the weekly thread, right, of the crate. Like I don't know. I don't. It's one of those situations where if I was WWE, I'd have been like, "What do these people want?" You know what I mean? Like, what do these internet people want? So, and I guess it wasn't even just the internet people because, like I said, the Chicago people booed it. So, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the reaction that he's beginning weekly is not as negative. So, again, I think it was just people just they to be honest with you, someone just pissed in their Cheerios and they were mad, and that's it. That's it. And they took it out on Danhausen. I think, and another thing that I have to give props for because I'm sure maybe before I sign off, maybe not, or I'm sure earlier I've been negative at some point. Gotta keep balance, right? Um, with how shitty WWE is with their music overall, they nailed it with Danhausen. Like I think his music is spot on. I think his whole presentation so far for what he is spot on. Like I really don't know what else people expected, unless again you just don't like that type of character in pro wrestling. Which touche, my friend. I totally understand that. I don't like every character like that, so I can totally get where you're coming from. But I kind of dig Danhausen. Like I am a new. I mean, obviously I've known of Danhausen for years, but I don't really know the origin of the character. I don't know why he carries the teeth around. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen him wrestle. I don't know if he actually wrestles. I know I've talked about that in the past on the show. Because I mean I know I can look it up, but I don't think he's really known for his wrestling. He's known for just being this character. You know, he's very good and very evil, and that's that. And props to him, dude. Like if any of us could have created this character, gone out there and have to work. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it makes sense because he had to have wrestled at some point because he tore his ACL or some shit. He got hurt, I think, at some point. But I don't know if any of us, I guess I'll speak for myself. If I could have came up with something like that and have to wrestle very minimally and make a shit ton of money off of it and have a livelihood to take care of a wife, a family, like all that shit, travel, like, be an actual responsible adult. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? It's the same people who hate on Roman Reigns' schedule, right? Again, like I've said, selfishly as a fan, I wish he was around more, and it frustrates me because we go back and forth with Roman's here. Oh, next week Roman returns. It's like the fuck, like just be back or don't be. You know what I mean? But if I could get that schedule, if I could get that contract, you best believe I would. I think we all would if we were able to get to that level. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just lazy, and that's cool. That's cool. I will be lazy. But if lazy can allow me to provide for my family, then shit. And to be fair though, like at least in my brain, if I didn't have to work on the daily, it would open up my time to do so many other things and just be creative and like actually be more productive because I wouldn't be tied up with work for the chunk of my day, you know? So, that's where we're at. Hey, Maddie, you said I am loving Danhausen. Let's go, brother. Let's go. I love housing the Danhausen. Hell yeah. Oh, brother, I'm sorry, man. You said, oh, well, I don't know if you want me to broadcast this. I'm sorry, man. But you put it in the chat, so I'm sorry. You said, oh, Ash, I've been chasing this girl for nearly a year now to realize she's a narcissist. Fellas, if she's not a wrestling fan, she's not cool. Fuck yeah, Maddie. That's the. So, a couple things with that. Either A, she needs to be 100% cool with wrestling, right? Like down with it, going to shows with you, like all in, maybe pun intended, or I guess it'll be C. B, if she's not into it, that's a red flag, or at least a yellowish orange flag, right? Because I mean, come on, it's wrestling. And then C, if she's not going to be into it, if she's that orangish flag, at least be okay with you being into it and you traveling to shows, you wasting money on it, wasting, right? Because that's what's going to be viewed as you wasting money. To us, it's an investment, right? And it's our pastime, it's our enjoyment. She needs to be okay with that. If she's not going to go to the shows with you, which honestly sometimes could be better, could be worse, depends on what type of traveler you are. And she just needs to be down with the cause. You know, she just needs to be down with you, enjoying that. She can do and enjoy her shit and go from there. But if not, brother, and she's a narcissist, on to the next, my friend. And it sucks that you spent a year, you know, chasing her, and you know, you're coming to that realization now. But man, it may have cost you a year, but it could have saved you a lot of years too. A lot of years. So at least you found that shit out now, man. And it's early in your day. You got your Lygaska over there, so it's gonna be a good day, my friend. A good day. I appreciate the love, my friend. Nah, like for real, y'all. I'm still shocked that y'all actually popped in. I thought I was just gonna be talking to myself here, which is fine. Um, and I figured y'all would catch it on the flip side. But I appreciate y'all popping in for a little bit of time that you did. Well, actually, the long time that you did now. I appreciate that. Is he really, Maddie? No fucking way. Jim Cornette is a fan of Danhausen? Yo, do you have any? Do you have any? Jim Cornette, man, it's so like a weird like thing with Cornette, man. Like he is just such a fucking cluster, you know? Normally it's the other way around, but man, I don't know, dude. But do you have any like videos that he's done specifically on Danhausen that you recommend? Because I would love to hear his what he has to say on it. Again, I Cornette, I don't even know. I don't even know. He's one of those people where it's like, man, I probably don't agree. And to be fair, like I've listened to a little bit of what of his stuff, but I haven't heard nearly enough to form a like my personal opinion. I've seen others' opinion. Like some people have mentioned that he's talked shit about women or I don't know, like all this stuff. I'm not saying he's not. I just personally have not listened to enough of his content to really be aware of what actually he has said. So there's that. But the few things that I have listened to were fucking hilarious. um, so yeah. Again, not fully endorsing him. I just, you know, he's one of those fellas, all right? Oh, dude, yeah, Punk's bull interest was just fantastic, dude. Oh, when the, when the music first came on, I was like, wait a second. It's like it like was slowly unlocking this memory in my brain. I was like, where? It didn't fully unlock it. It was like king the memory, and I was like, yo, the fuck is that? And then once I realized, I was like, yo, let's go, dude. My God. Another reason why he's the best in the world, man. And yeah, all right, you say Jordan is the GOAT? Yeah, okay. I can concede that. I can agree with that, okay? But to me, it matters who your number 2 is. And there's only one right answer. So if we all agree that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, who is y'all's number 2? And I'm gonna hold off on mine unless you know if I've mentioned it before, but I'm gonna hold off on my number 2. To me, he's the GOAT, but I know I'm not dumb, right? I know he's not really the GOAT, but to me, he's number 2. Let me know who your number 2 is, because that's the question, man. Yeah, I do, Maddie. I love that he's going around cursing people, man. Like he cursed Dom and he lost the IC championship. Come on, being cursed is a real thing. Oh, you got the 2K26, the WWE one, brother, Maddie. Yo, what do you play on? Do you play on PS5, Xbox, PC? A lot of people play, or a lot of people are PC people nowadays. I was kind of surprised by that. I have to get a PlayStation 5. My PlayStation 4 I've had, I don't even, since the beginning of its time. But I've just been holding out on getting the PS5, trying to hold out I mean, at this point until I retire for Grand Theft Auto 6, because I figured they would have some type of bundle deal, right? With the new game, you get the game, the console type shit. So I was trying to hold out for that. But at this point, I don't know if I'm going to get my retirement check first or the PlayStation 5 with Grand Theft Auto. So, you know, there's that. And I don't think my I don't not I don't think my PlayStation 4 is not going to last that long. It's going to be, what do they say for the end of the world? It's going to be cockroaches and the anticipation for Grand Theft Auto 6. That's going to be it. Sean, you're about to be banned, my friend. No. Ah, Maddie, my guy, my guy, my guy, my guy. You said Jordan and Kobe. Let's go. Ding, ding, ding. Kobe for the win, dude. Fucking Kobe, man. I can't believe it's been 6 years since the dude's, like, passed, man. Crazy shit, dude. I still remember where I was when I found out. I was getting iced coffee. Crazy shit, dude. But to be fair, Sean, I know not even probably. I know statistically at this point, LeBron is most likely number 2. Again, I can acknowledge that. That's the word of the night again. But man, I just the flops, my dude. Like, I want to like LeBron, and I have made a lot of, what do they call that? I made a lot of headway or whatever. I made a lot of progress, we'll say, in the past few years. But dude, like when he's what, like 230, 40 pounds, like a solid dude, right? Big solid dude. And you mean to tell me you have a player the size of me who runs by you and looks at you the wrong way and you go flying over there and both of your arms hurt? Like what? What? And this continues to happen? Like it kills me, dude. It kills me. I cannot stand it. And I know it's not just him. Like James Harden is a terrible flopper. Like I know it's the disease in the NBA. I think it's gotten a little bit better, but dude, like it takes me out of it, man. I'm just like, dude, like you're this fucking beast, solid. Like all you post on social media is just like your veins popping out, like working out in the gym. Like you spend millions of dollars on your nutrition, your health. Like bravo. Like, I'm not hating on it. That's mad respect. Like, if I had the money and I was in his position, I would 100% do the same. But the flops, my guy, like, I'm not gonna say I don't understand it, right? Because I do understand the concept. You're drawing the foul, blah blah blah, or the possession. I can understand the definition of it on paper, right? But when you see it and it's so obvious, it kills me. It just kills me. Um, I actually get I actually get upset by it. I don't know why. I don't know why. Um, I think I do know why. Because I flash back to when Kobe fucking tore his Achilles, came back in, hobbled to the foul line, made his shots, and then hobbled back to the sideline. And then this dude, who's a fucking beast of a man, like probably double the muscle Kobe had, to be honest with you. And again, someone my size runs by him too fast, and the wind like knocks him all the way over there. He goes flying all the way over there, and your arms hurt. I'm like, what are we doing? Because we have to stop the game. Everyone has to go see if he's okay. You have to help him up. He has to shake it off. They have to watch the replay. They have to do all this shit. And it's like, dude, just what are we doing? So I'm sorry, guys. That's another tangent for the night. I blame Sean. I blame Sean. Dude, Maddie, what? You said in an alternate universe, Kobe joins the Bulls and Jordan. Shaq comes over, Robin. What? Dude, can you imagine? That wouldn't even be fair. If I was on the other teams in NBA, I'd just quit. I'd be like, yeah, no. That just wouldn't even be fair. Oh yeah, Sean. You said LeBron needs to retire and let it be Luka's team now. He had his amazing run, but he plays no defense at all now. Another good point, Sean. Another very good point. But I just again, like I don't want to sound like a hater, right? Because dude, like the fact that he's still going at the level that he's going at is amazing. So like no shade, no, I just sat there and talk shit, but no like disrespect at all because he's a fucking beast. Like props to him 100,000 times. But it's those things, man. It's just those things where I'm just like, Kobe would never. Kobe would never. And maybe he has flopped, but not to this amount, right? And I don't know why. That's just the one thing that always has stood out to me. It just always bothered me. And again, I know he's not the only one. I know others are probably worse at it, or like however you want to frame it, or a more like a worse offender, or whatever, than he is. But when he does it, man, I'm just like, bro, like you're so much better than that. And I think that's what it is. Because like we all like, there's no question he's one of the goats, right? And it's like, dude, like you don't need to do that, man. Like you're gonna draw the fouls anyway. People are gonna come hard at you. You're gonna bring the attention just by being on the court, period. Like it's gonna come to you. So I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't have that basketball brain. I don't have that coach's brain or that player's brain. Like I played basketball in high school, but it wasn't like that. Like that was that wasn't. We were never like we never discussed. Oh yeah, go take a flop. You know, and you're like, no, that's not the shit. But yeah, man. But it is Luka's team now. It is Luka's team. Um, their side note. Well, not side note because this is what we're talking about now. But the Lakers are going to be playing the Magic. I think the 21st here in Orlando. I really was tempted to go, but I was like, is LeBron gonna be there? Because like that would be the reason I'm sitting here talking all this shit. But again, he is one of the goats, so be dope to see him if he was gonna play, right? I don't want to spend all that money if he's not. But it'd be cool to see Luka too. So yeah, we'll see. Oh, Maddie, you're on the Xbox. Okay. You upgraded. Yeah, right on. Dude, Sean, so well said, dude. I mean, I can't bring myself to say LeBron is better than Kobe, but I understand. So I'm just gonna skip that part. You said even though he has no killer instinct, but he is a fantastic all around player. 100%. Kobe was such a ball hog, and yeah. So Cody. Why do I keep saying Cody? Cody Rhodes. Kobe was such a ball hog, and if he would pass more, they probably would have won. Not even probably. They definitely would have won more, and most likely would have been in better playoff positions than they were. But man, that killer instinct, dude. You said it just spot on, Sean. That killer instinct. I don't know what it is, but I'm not gonna. Maybe it's not fair to say LeBron has no killer instinct. It's just he has like a I'm a maim you instinct. Like I'm not gonna go out there and kill you. Maybe I need to be careful on that. I'm not gonna go out there and do that to you, but I'm gonna hurt you enough. You know what I mean? But no, you need to go out there, that Mamba mentality. You know what I mean? What up, D Rock? What up? What up, man? Dude, I could not. I was like, there's no way. I heard it, or no, I read something on Twitter. Like I saw, like random tweets going on. And I was like, people are talking shit, man. Like it actually made me mad. Cause like, why are people going to make up this story about Kobe? And then I saw an article from TMZ, and I was like, no, they got their sources wrong. There's just no way. And then that confirmation came out, and I was just like, dude, like I sat in that Starbucks parking lot for I don't even know how long, like waiting to really read something to confirm it. I was just like, there's no way, dude. Yeah, I don't know. Dude, Chris Paul does not get the love that he deserves, man. Isn't he retiring this year or just recently retired? I haven't, to be honest, I haven't like this season. I have not watched as much as I have in the past, um, or followed. This year it was kind of weird, like basketball and football. To be honest with you, I just kind of been checked out of a lot. I've been watching a lot of like real world shit lately, which is kind of depressing. Dude, Sean, you bring up a good point. You said Kobe is way tougher than LeBron could ever be. LeBron could never play in that older era where they fouled so hard. Dude, especially, remember what year was it? But the mid 90s with the Detroit Pistons, dude. Yo, I would pay good money. Good money to transport LeBron into like especially like the Miami Heat LeBron into the mid 90s with the Detroit Pistons. Oh, I would just love to see it. Just one game. Just one. Take my money. Oh shit. Yeah. Damn. Prayers up for Conan. Yeah, that's rough, dude. That is not. That's rough. That is rough. But yeah, I think that was all that we had lined up for today. I knew it was going to be a long stream. Like I said, didn't expect you guys to pop on, so I very, very much appreciate you all for doing so. I think life is getting a little bit back to normal going into this week, so that's cool. So TBD on the next, or standby rather, and TBD for the next stream. I'm hoping it will be within the next few days. Honestly, it probably would be maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm definitely after Raw to see what happens on Raw and go from there because it's gonna be a big Raw. Actually, before we wrap up, I'm gonna get a full card for this Monday night. What kind of website is that? Yeah, why is this so hard to find? Maybe Fightful has it. Oh. Well, this article brings up Raquel Rodriguez and Stephanie Vaquera, but shout out to Raquel Rodriguez, though. She has been looking fantastic. Elimination Chamber, and I think it was the qualifying matches that they had. A few of there was like 2 triple threat matches that she was involved in particular. I think they were qualifying matches leading up to the Chamber. Dude, she was the MVP in both of the triple threat matches that she was in. And my opinion, if not the MVP in the Chamber match, right up there, because the movement that she creates, especially for being like the bigger person in the match, like it's just something to it, man. I don't know, like I feel like something was unlocked in her recently or whatever, and she just has like really embraced this new like version of her character, and it's just really cool to see. Like, what did she do to? Oh my god, who was it? What was it like that slam through the glass? Who was it to in the Chamber? Oh, I can't remember who it was to. But she just fucking like tackles. She scooped some. Oh my god, who was it? I can't remember who it was. But she had scooped one of the girls up and just fucking pummeled through that, quote unquote bulletproof glass. I don't even know if they still claim it's that anymore, but TBT to the old days. But man, she just fucking pummeled that girl, and I was like, bro, God, for the life of me, I can't remember who it was too. It was blonde. I feel like it was one of the blonde chicks. I don't remember their names, but I just can't remember who it was too. It wasn't. I don't think it was Alexa. Was it Tiffany? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. She just looked fantastic. So shout out to Raquel. But apparently she'll be facing off against Stephanie Vaquer on Raw, which this Raw coming up is the 316 Raw as well, which is pretty interesting. Let me see what else they have. Okay, cool. So shout out to Fightful. Oh, and this was posted today at 7:43 p.m. Eastern time, so a little less than 3 hours ago. But they says Stephanie Vaquer will take on Raquel Rodriguez on the March 16th episode of WWE Raw. The women's world title will not. Oh, the world title will not be on the line. Come on. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but Rodriguez is part of Judgment Day. Okay, but the current lineup for Raw. Where are they at? I think they're where are they at? Somewhere in Texas. Yeah, San Antonio. Okay. Can't remember which exact part they were in San Antonio, but it makes sense. Okay, San Antonio, Texas. Yeah, so Monday they'll be in San Antonio, Texas. That's what people were, obviously with 316 Day as well, but being in Texas, Stone Cold makes sense. I think though, I know he has property in like Utah and in California, so I don't even know if he still like predominantly lives in Texas. I don't know. You guys would probably know better than I would, but that'd be dope. Props to him though for not being one of those big stars that comes back and milks their legacy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really crazy to think of the lack of returns that Austin has truly had. I mean, yeah, he's made a good amount of appearances, right? But definitely not anything in ring besides what he did with Kevin Owens a few years ago now at this point. But he wasn't really one of those to really come back and, like I said, milk that legacy. Like, the only thing that he really did was in 03, he was the sheriff, right? He would ride around on the ATV four-wheeler. But went into Survivor Series with the match, the 5-on-5 match with his team versus, I believe it was Eric Bischoff's team. And then I'm pretty certain it was Shawn Michaels who went the duration of the match, but they ended up losing. And then the stipulation was like Austin had to leave or whatever, or at least relinquish his power. But I'm pretty certain, yeah, he had to leave. But yeah, because he gave that speech afterward because he was like, it was fitting that his career ended and began in Dallas, Texas, I believe. Something like that. It was actually a really good show. But yeah, so I don't know. That'd be dope if he showed up. I'm not holding my breath on it, but it would be pretty cool. Because part of me is like, you know, if the idea is you may get a surprise appearance from Austin at WrestleMania, why? Because it is confirmed that he's going to be in that area for like autograph signings or whatever. At this point, you might as well just hold on to that first, like, oh my God, Austin is here moment in years. But I could see why you would want to build that momentum too and that hype going into Mania. Not that he's gonna, I'm not saying he's gonna show up on Raw and start anything, you know, like start an angle going into Mania, which would be really cool if he did, but not saying I'm expecting that. But even just an appearance, you know, would add more fuel to the fire. So I don't know. It just depends on what they have planned for him at Mania, I would think as well. And maybe even on the other hand too, like if they have nothing like set in stone for him, if it's just the autograph signing or whatever he's doing at the Access event, or I know they don't call it Access anymore, but that's just what I call it. But if they don't have anything for him card wise, again, appearance, I'm not talking match, then why not have him show up on 316 Day if he's available? So we'll see. Not holding my breath either way though. But the actual card for Monday night is El Grande Americano versus OG El Grande Americano. I wonder if we'll get an unmasking here or not. We have Roman Reigns set to appear, of course, to address CM Punk. Well, doesn't specifically say that, but he's set to appear, assuming he's going to address Punk, the whole Uso situation and all that. Brock Lesnar is set to appear as well. That's going to be interesting too because what was it? Not last week, but the week before, I believe it was, when we last saw Lesnar. He didn't. It was kind of like it was really awkward, right? So, well, I guess maybe not awkward, but it was just kind of like, okay, like that was it. So, like, he makes his appearance. He's in the ring with Paul Heyman, all this stuff. Like Heyman's hyping him up, da da da. He's, you know, like here's Lesnar's schedule, and he has however many dates. Which I was actually shocked by the amount of dates going into Mania, to be honest with you. And then he was like pretty much declaring the open challenge. You know, okay, cool. And it was just build, 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 and then no one came out. And then Lesnar goes to the back, and I'm just like, wow. Okay, so they really pretty much like called everyone in the back chicken shits and no one came out to defend themselves. Cool. And that night they had just had a segment with Obafemi right before it. So they got me. I was like, oh, they're setting up an appearance with Oba. No, to be fair. When I saw Oba, I didn't necessarily think of Brock until the next segment when Brock came out. Heyman's talking his shit, the open challenge, yada yada. And then I'm thinking, oh, because first of all, like I had talked about this with you guys a few weeks ago. I would love to see Oba versus Lesnar. Made a case for that already. But it just kind of made sense, right? Like they just planted a little indirect seed in our brain, right? Like, oh, we just saw him, so you know, it's fresh in our brain. And then I need to plug my phone in. And then next thing you know, we have Lesnar out in the ring. Well, I was about to say addressing, but he wasn't addressing shit, but having Heyman address his WrestleMania status, the next few weeks, whatever. And then no one came out. I'm just like, damn, really, dude? Like, really? Like, again, I understand you had weeks to fill, especially at that point, it was probably like 6 or 7 weeks. But why bring him out then? Like, I don't know. You could have saved a chunk of change. I don't know. Just didn't really make sense to me. But as I was saying, he is set to appear on Raw this coming Monday, so we will see. Because you can't just keep bringing him out there talking about the schedule. Like, all right, guys, Brock Lesnar to beat, da da da. Like, you know, open challenge, da da da. No one comes out. This is my schedule. I'll see you next on this show, and then nothing happens. It's like, oh, well, like why? Why even show up on whatever date? Like, what's the point if you're not gonna have anyone come out and confront him? and go from there. Again, not saying do shit if it's going to wear it out by the time we get to Mania. Just don't bring Lesnar out, period, until you're at that point. If you have a story in mind, but you can only fill the story for 3 to 4 weeks, then bring Lesnar out on that 4th week. Have it start then and then go from there or whatever it is. Like, don't bring him out 6 weeks prior. Like, it was just very weird to me. Just seemed like a waste. And I don't know, maybe there was something planned that, got changed or something that I missed that, whatever. Or a point that I missed, but I just remember watching that and just thinking like, really? Like when he was leaving the ring, like really? Like I was waiting, man. I was waiting for that music to hit, and they got me. Nothing happened. Now I was like, well, shit. Let's move on then. Fuck me. So they got me. Again, hopefully he'll do something, or something productive will be established on Monday. And again, so we can talk about it on maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. We'll see. Okay, there we go. Then we have the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship, AJ Lee defending against Bayley. I hope that's going to be a good match, dude. I feel like if AJ is going to have any type of like standout match, like return singles match, it's going to be against Bayley. They're very good friends. They've known each other for years. Bayley is fantastic in the ring. Bayley's that technician, like that ring general, where if you need a solid women's match, you put Bayley out there, and Bayley will be, like I said, the ring general, right? Like she will go out there and I don't want to say carry it because it has a negative connotation, but she'll be out there to stir to steer the ship. To like, again, like that's why I didn't want to say like carry it, but like to really guide the match and to just help the flow with it, you know what I mean? And to help whether you're a newcomer, if you're returning to the ring, if you're just having an off night, whatever. And again, not saying Bayley's perfect, but I don't know, Bayley's just solid. And Bayley to me is just, she gets her credit. It's kind of weird. Like she's gotten her credit, she's gotten her moments, right? She won the Rumble, won at Mania, all this stuff, right? Like she's very well accomplished, but it still just feels like kind of like with the Punk scenario way back when, right? Like he was the world heavyweight champion, but the story and the focus wasn't on him. It was, yeah, like he's the champion, quote unquote, right? But the focus is over here. So to me, it sometimes I get that feeling with Bayley, but it's also, to another hand, it's not like I can sit here and be like, oh, well, she, they haven't done this, this, and this for her, because she has, like she has had those moments. So I don't know. Maybe I know I'm not alone because I know CJ LaChapelle. I know he definitely is in that camp, but I don't know if we're just in the minority or what. And again, I'm not sitting here advocating like, oh, Bayley should be in the run for the women's championship or anything like that. It's just a weird spot, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, shout out everyone who is watching on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, all that bullshit. You guys know what to do. But yeah, in regards to this match though, Bayley and AJ Lee, I if we even get a winner to this match, really, I don't see AJ Lee losing the championship. First of all, so soon. Second of all, going into Mania. And sadly, third, to Bayley in this situation is just not placement or the time with what they've set up. I guess you could have like the Lyra part, Bayley defending against Lyra, but I think Lyra might actually have something to do with the decision. Maybe wishful thinking, but maybe Lyra interferes and actually costs Bayley in the match. AJ doesn't really notice it until after the match is done, and then she's like, "Oh shit, what are you doing out here? Like, did you get involved? Blah blah blah, type thing." And then that sets up a match at WrestleMania for Lyra and Bayley. Kind of get that, I don't want to say get that out of the way, but get that match set up, get those two people out of the way. It opens up, and kind of clears the landscape for everyone else that you need to get a match for and who needs to be on the card. So, yeah, because again, AJ Lee is not going to lose to Bayley for what I just said. we're going into WrestleMania, AJ Lee defending the championship against Becky Lynch. It just is what it is. I was thinking maybe they were gonna do something crazy with like Jessica Carr, the referee with Becky, but it looks like they're just biding a little bit more time, having AJ Lee going in as your defending championship, facing off against Becky at Mania. I early pick on that one. I would think maybe AJ would retain, but I'm too early to call on that one. Next for Raw, we have a good little lineup here for Raw. Next up we have Natty facing off against Maxine Dupree. If I'm not mistaken, it was last week's Raw, maybe the week prior, where was it like not even a minute or two or whatever, where Natty just went out there and beat the shit out of Maxine. Yeah, man, I don't really know. I mean, it's obvious what they're doing with Natty, but I don't know how serious they're like taking this version of her. Like, it's again kind of weird as well. Like, they're definitely taking it serious in the sense where they're allowing her to portray this new tougher version of herself, right? Complete 180 to the character to Natalya, right? Complete Natty and Natalya, completely different people, completely different characters, I should say. So props for that, right? And that's obvious, but in the sense of, is she like a championship contender? Is she even going to be IC level? Like, what are we really doing with Natty besides the Maxine Dupree part, right? So that's where I'm just kind of like, where are we going? I personally think they should move her to SmackDown, unless there's a reason. Oh my gosh, what's her husband's name? TJ, right? I don't know if he's just solely on Raw, and that's why she's on Raw as well, or if there'd be more flexibility with the travel. Again, if her husband's on Raw, then 100% stay on Raw. I'm not advocating bringing up a happy home, but if the flexibility was there where she would be able to go on SmackDown, I think she would be just perfect for that US championship. And she would be one to really, whether you want to like position her as a good guy or a bad guy, right? She would be someone to really go out there and set a good tenure for the championship. You could, at least. If obviously it's all about the booking, right? But she would be someone who would be believable, especially with this new version of herself. Yeah, I just think the US title is kind of going nowhere right now. I don't think it's their own fault. I don't think they should have debuted the IC championship and the US championship for the women at the same time. They should have just debuted the IC championship, get that established for a couple years, and then if it warrants it, debuted the US championship on the other show. So I think they kind of bit off too much there, and now they're feeling the after effect, So yeah, but I think have Natty run through Maxine. She's already kind of addressed everything else on Raw anyway. Have her show up on SmackDown. WrestleMania season is kind of a little bit of like a wild card type of deal with the roster anyway. They do a lot of shit without addressing it, so this isn't, I don't think people are going to lose their mind over Natty switching to SmackDown with no explanation. You know what I mean? But yeah. And then last but not least is the Stephanie Vaquero and Raquel Rodriguez match, which we spoke about. So yeah, Raw seems to be like a pretty good show. Yeah, I have spoken for much longer than I anticipated. Apologize for that. Hey, Sean, I appreciate that super chat, my friend. Thank you so much, man. It really does help out with the like subscription costs and all that shit. I was looking into Restream earlier, just like with the different streaming packages. Like I use StreamYard right now. But yeah, so I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. Says subscribe, everyone. Always fun on here. Show Ashley some love because she deserves it. I appreciate you, man. You're a real one. I appreciate you. Hey, Ringside Renaissance, the OGs. What up, friends? What up? If you guys have not, y'all definitely need to subscribe to them. They are fantastic gentlemen. fantastic gents out there. Oh, look who it is. Speaking of OGs, the man, the myth, the legend. Sigh. What up, my friend? Yeah, dude, like fucking 2 hours deep. Where you been? Just kidding. Again, this was completely random. I actually kind of feel bad now that everyone's kind of filing in a little bit more, but at least it gives you something to go back and waste 2 hours of your life on. Maddie, I appreciate you, my friend. Yeah, hell yeah. Ringside Road, we'll have to link up. We'll have to do something in preparation going into Mania for sure. Fernando, buenas noches, amigo. No, man, it was again another last minute stream. Okay, Sean, yeah, you said the same thing. You think Lyra is costing Bailey the match? Yeah, dude. And again, you guys listen to me, you know my thoughts on Lyra. She's good in the ring. She's solid in the ring. It's nothing like that. Just the character never grabbed on to me, man. I don't know. For whatever reason, I just didn't really connect with her. So I'm hoping maybe if she does turn, maybe that'll spark something in me. But yeah. Oh yeah, Sean. I don't know if anyone mentioned her leaving, but yeah, you said AEW has way too many women right now and too many people overall. Bailey won't do any better in AEW in my view. Yeah, I'm not advocating for her to leave WWE or go to, well, either. It's kind of two different things. First, I'm not advocating for her to leave WWE at all. I think she actually is one of those who is best in WWE for multiple reasons. However, if she did end up leaving, I would not want to see her go to AEW. Of course, like we'll most likely get like a one. I could see like a one big match at like All In or something like that. Which I guess at that point he would most likely want to sign her, he being Tony Khan. But I would kind of be intrigued to see what she would do on the indies at this point in this stage in her career, right? I Bailey loves, well, the human being, right? Loves wrestling. So I fully think she would use her freedom from WWE contractually wise, contractually speaking, as just like the nod to just hit the like pedal to the metal type shit, you know what I mean? And just go out there, open her own school, like do this, that, and the third. That's why I don't even necessarily think she would sign on like for maybe like a short-term deal with AEW to do like a couple of the key matches or even just the key match with Mercedes, for all the obvious reasons. I don't see her locking down like that. I think she's getting closer to the point, just seeing what she did with that school, right? And just how much she really put into that personally and how much it seemed like she loved it just from the, outside looking in. I feel like that would be her move. And here in Orlando, Amazing Red has a new school that just opened up for Hog HOG, House of Glory Wrestling. I think Bailey lives not like somewhere not far from the Orlando area. So I could totally see her like linking up with him and like doing something like that. So I don't know, just me talking out my ass, you know what I mean? I don't know. But my thoughts on that. Yeah, Maddie Raw's looking good though. I'm excited to see what Raw ends up being. I don't know. Whenever I get excited for a show, it always ends up kind of being a dud. So I'm not trying to hype up everyone. So it'll be actually end up being good. And yeah, I don't know, brother. Like they said that his contract got extended because he was like it was frozen or something. I don't know. I don't know, man. At this point, I'm just like, show up when you can or not. Of course, I'm down for it, right? I'm just like, once it didn't happen at the Rumble, I'm just like, all right, it is what it is. He'll show up when he can. Dogtown, what is up, my friend? I'm doing well, sir. How are you? It's good to see you. Hey, Maddie, happy to be there. Yeah, facts. Dogtown, he said, Cody Rhodes bores me to death. How is it that Cody gets cheered, but Cena in his prime got booed? What's the difference, bro? I think the difference, bruh, is Cena was more forced than Cody. I don't think we're I think we're with this third reign, I think we're close to people getting to that sense where he's being forced, but I think they're fabricating more than what's actually the case. Whereas Cena in the past, he was 100%, it was just Super Cena to the death of you, right? Like it didn't matter what it was. Now, granted, he did lose some of the matches, but he won more than he lost, obviously. Even some matches against Randy Orton, he should have won or he should have lost. So I don't know. I'm not excusing it completely. I'm not saying Cody is Mr. Personality out there, but to me, he at least brings a different type of babyface, you know? Like he's like I was saying earlier, like he's just that guy where like you would like if you looked at him, you would think like well, I didn't say this part earlier, but I've said this in the past. You would look at this dude, especially like the days when him and the Young Bucks would go to Cracker Barrel and sit on those rocking chairs out in the front. And you can tell they've been traveling, right? And they would be like the Young Bucks would be wearing like a tank top or whatever. They don't look like bums, but they're just wearing, normal tanks and a t-shirt, whatever, or a cut off, whatever. This motherfucker Cody is in a 3-piece suit. And it's like, dude, it's like what, 9 a.m.? Like you've been traveling all night? Like you would like what? Like why are you in a suit? Like relax. Like you would look at him and be like, you're an asshole. Like you're that dude who thinks he's better than everyone, blah blah blah. And that at least I would. And that would be me projecting, assuming whatever the adjective is gonna be, right? And maybe the heel version, and deep down there is that in him, but he is also that dude who's out there, like there is a side of him who enjoys kissing those babies, shaking the hands, making the towns and all that stuff. So, and he does it in a way where, like I did say this earlier, where for whatever reason, a lot of the guys bought in. And I think it was the journey that he took outside of WWE that really solidified that and made that a thing. But they got to be careful with that in WWE. And I think, especially going up against Randy, dude, like they need to be careful because if they, I don't know, it could get to the point where they're almost forced to turn Cody. But I don't know. I don't know. What up, Chris? You said Cody got his ass kicked. He did. He did indeed. Oh man. But yeah, guys. So I've said this a few times, but we will wrap up there. I appreciate you all so much for joining. It has been too long. Like I've said a few times out, again, I didn't think anyone would even pop in because it was completely random, especially on a Saturday night, now going into 11 p.m. Y'all have a lot of shit you could be doing, but I appreciate you guys popping in, whether you did live here, all you guys, appreciate you all. I'm not going to name everyone. Or if you're watching on the replay, which is what I anticipated everyone was going to be doing, I appreciate that as well. I'm hoping to do a stream maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week after Raw, obviously, so we can go over the developments from that. That's what I'm hoping for, either Tuesday or Wednesday, because at that, like, honestly, I'm hoping for Tuesday, because then if it like pushes into Wednesday, then I'm like, well, maybe I should just wait to see what happens after Wednesday's night AEW to do the follow-up from oh my gosh, Revolution that is happening. So we will see. Maybe I'll pop on tomorrow and do a prediction show, but to be honest, again, with you guys, I'm kind of behind on the AEW stuff. I saw a little bit from this past week, but I'm just a little behind, so I don't even know if I'd fully be able to like give a proper review without just kind of going off of like old knowledge. So we'll see. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. Maybe do something on Tuesday, depending on my full-time schedule, and then go from there. But again, WrestleMania watch along. I don't know, Dogtown. I don't know. We'll see on that. TBD. I have to put in my request off from work. Thank you for the reminder, actually. So I do need to do that as well to first get the time off, and then we'll see about the watch along. We shall see. But until next time, my friends, thank you so much for joining. I truly appreciate you all. Have a fantastic weekend, and until next time, stay safe and enjoy some wrestling. Take care.